Let's talk about the W212. Welcome back to the channel. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you so much for 300 subscribers. It means a lot to me. Once we hit 1,000, I'm going to come out with an amazing video, something really crazy. So stick around for that. We're talking about the W212 today. The W212 is basically the Mercedes E-Class that was made from 2010 upwards to 2014, I believe. I could be wrong with that, sorry. Let's just talk about the design of the car. The E-Class has such a beautiful shape to it. It's like 2021 now and the car still fits in. Now, I do understand like the newer Mercedes, they're more roundish. That's probably because Mercedes kind of wanted to reset their design language because I think it was getting a little too crazy during this time. I like the E-Class for many reasons. Number one, because of its reliability. Number two, because of its looks. And number three, because of how affordable it is now in the market. So I just want to give you guys a background story of my own vehicle. I've owned my W212 E-Class for about 2 years. It's a 2010 Mercedes E350 4MATIC. So it's the V6 and it's got the all-wheel drive system, which is fixed. Before I owned it, a lot of things were already done to it. The water pump was replaced, the transfer case was replaced, which is part of the transmission, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. On top of that, the last owner did keep it in quite good shape. When I took ownership, there's a few things I changed, and those were my air filter, I did my spark plug, I changed the tires, I changed the rear brakes, the front brakes, just basic stuff. One problem I've been having recently, especially because of the cold weather, is the pulley has a bearing that's attached to the engine, and basically that's making a squeaking noise when it's really cold. And usually if you spray WD-40 on it, it goes away, but obviously the best thing to do is to replace it. I did check Rock Auto and that part was, I think, like $150, so it's not that bad. And I did search a tutorial on how to change it. I think it probably takes like 30-40 minutes, so that's not bad. As far as the interior goes, there is the center scrolling knob basically that breaks. There's a shaft that originally came with this vehicle and it was made out of plastic. It's part of the knob assembly. Once that shaft breaks, it doesn't send a signal to the screen and you can't really scroll through your music and whatnot. So I actually took that all apart. I changed it to a metal shaft and now it's good to go. That I think took like 30 minutes, not that bad. Part cost me $15, good to go. I do want to say the interior is amazing. These cars hold up very well, most likely because the leather is not actually real. Because I know real leather creases and you have to take good care of it. I do want to mention that also eventually the blower motor starts squeaking and stuff. What you got to do is take apart the blower motor, spray some WD-40 on the bearing where it sits, and that should fix your problem. Now, unfortunately, my E-Class does not have heated seats, so a lot of my friends make fun of that, but you know what? It does have a lot of different features that I really love, and some of them being, it's got the AMG package on it, so it's got the AMG front bumper, AMG side skirts, and the AMG rear bumper, panoramic sunroof, which gives it a very nice look, especially on a white car with that white and black contrast. It looks amazing. I do want to say though that there's a few things I don't like about this car, and one of them being the transmission. Now, I did mention to you guys my transmission was replaced, or the transfer case, but at the same time, it's weird. It has a mind of its own, and I think this could be a factory characteristic of the car itself. That's what Mercedes has said. Because a lot of people on the forums have complained about this. If you think about it, this was Mercedes' first trial on making a 7-speed transmission. They did a great job, but I think they could have done a few things better. Whenever you're taking turns, when you're slowing down, it just is quite slow to react. Aside from that, it's decent, it gets good. I think on the highway, it's probably the best. One thing you guys gotta be careful about is that if you live in a cold climate or a rainy climate, whatever, and you floored the car and, obviously it's slipping and then somehow you gain traction, that's very detrimental. That can actually screw a lot of things inside the transfer case. So you got to be very careful. It's not It's not a cheap job, and even if you were to do it yourself, it's gonna cost you a couple grand. Careful when you're trying to pull stunts with this vehicle, because this car is not made for stunts. I also want to say, if you guys are in the market for one, try staying away from the air suspension models, because that just adds too much complexity to the car itself. I know it rides way better, but at the same time, each shock assembly is like around $1,000, and that's not including labor. I feel more comfortable with a spring and strut suspension setup as opposed to air. That's just my personal preference. Another thing I want to mention to you guys is the motor mounts. Now, actually, I did forget to mention, my motor mounts were changed under warranty, thankfully. And what used to happen is that every time I was at a stoplight or when I was stationary, my steering wheel used to shake a lot. And that was quite annoying because, you know, it's supposed to be a luxury car. It's supposed to be very smooth. Thankfully, it was covered under warranty. And when I had that switched out, it was brand new again. And the reason they collapse and break is because they have some fluid in them. And that fluid eventually leaks out, and then the motor mount collapses. And therefore, the vibration from the engine is being delivered through the whole chassis, therefore, to your steering wheel. If you were to do that yourself, I think that's gonna take you a good, I wanna say a couple hours, at least 5-6, depending on how familiar you are with this job. You would also need an engine crane. I think that would be very helpful, because you gotta lift the engine, pull the mounts out, and then, put the new ones in. The job is definitely doable in your garage. But make sure that if you have a 4MATIC version, you're gonna have the headers come in the way of the motor mounts. You're gonna have to actually remove the header. I just wanted to say that I think this is one of the most reliable Mercedes E-Classes. Let's just say modern generation E-Class. Keep in mind, Mercedes, the W212 is actually used as a taxi in Germany. If a car is being used as a taxi, you best believe that it's being driven every single day and it's proven its reliability. Although I do want to point out that the ones in Germany are most likely diesels, and diesels definitely last way longer than petrol versions. Anyways, thank you so much, guys, for joining me today. If you've made it this far to the video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Hopefully see you in the next video. So thank you, guys. Take care.
Let me see you move.